welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom and another Rambles from me, looking at some of the stuff that's coming up in World of Tanks in the next few weeks and months and indeed years. So first up, we're going to take a look at the upcoming patch 9.21, and there's a couple of big surprises in there that I don't think anyone had talked about previously, so we'll talk about that. Some new maps, yeah, I know, new maps, plus reworks of a couple of old maps, so that's interesting to take a look at. We'll also look at changes, things happening with XVM, and lots of other good stuff besides. So let's pop over and have a look. So patch 9.21 is coming sometime in December. No idea exactly when, but sometime December is the timing. So what's coming in that? Well, it's a couple of very interesting things. Well, in fact, more than that, actually. More than I thought there was first of all going to be in this patch. So first up, the long talked about replacement of the Death Star, the FV215B183. It will be removed and replaced with the FV217 Badger. Rationale for this is that, like Wargame have done already in a couple of lines, is that they want tanks to sort of have a logical progression. And if you look at the ATs, you head through the AT line, they're all roughly the same sort of tank, big, heavy, slow things with very fast firing and reasonably low alpha guns. And then you get to the Tortoise at tier 9, and it's a sort of bigger, badder version of a AT-15 really. But then you get to the FV, and the FV Death Star is a completely different kind of tank. Big gun, big big boom stick, as opposed to, you know, fast firing anti-tank type gun. So they're going to replace it and they're going to swap in, and the Badger is much more like a super Tortoise really. Those of you have unlocked and still own the FV215B183 and it's in your garage at the time of the patch will get to keep it as a special premium tier 10, and you will get the Badger for free. So that's the main thing. So we've known about this for some time. If you're looking to grind your way down through that line and get the Death Star before it disappears, probably forever, you need to do it before December, really. But the other thing that's coming in is this alternative French heavy tank line. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago. This is, so at the moment the French heavy tank line is autoloaders basically, but the new heavy tanks will have armor, so they'll be much like the Liberté, pretty good guns with very thick frontal armor, not so much anywhere else, but very thick frontal turret and hull armor, and that's what we'll be getting in the next patch. The third thing of consequence is a new map. Yes, I know, a new map. I'll show you some other footage from this in a minute, but this is the Klondike, a new 30v30 map, which is coming in. So it's yeah, it looks kind of interesting. A bit of a mixture of looks a bit like, what was that map that had the mines and was oh gosh, I can't remember what it was called now. There used to be a map that looks fairly similar to this, sort of fairly industrial in woodlands with a sort of a mining area. Got taken out of the game because it was too unbalanced. This looks like a sort of similar graphically to that. So anyway, this is the new 30v30. Good thing, because don't know about you guys, I was getting bored shitless with the current map that you get on 30v30, because you just want variety. But that's not all. There's also going to be some changes to, well, pretty much all the maps remaining in the game. Red Shars, Runeberg, Swamp, Malakova, Fjord, Sand River, Pilsen, Airfield, Cliff, Tundra, Fisherman's Bay and Serene Coast will all have boost and hard to reach areas removed. So they're going to finally stop all the climbing that goes on. Not sure what I feel about this. I think sometimes there's some nice interesting positions, but often you see people just basically wasting their time trying to climb up there, and then by the time they've got there, they've had no part of the game, and their team is kind of pretty much lost, and then all they do is sit and then just pick off enemy targets and get lots of free XP. And I'm not sure I like it really, so on balance I think it's a good thing to remove all the climbing places. That said, some of them are quite fun to try and get up, not that I'm any good at it. Other things, we talked about Klondike, new test, so super test for the Carnarvon Action, the Carnarvon Action X. This is we talked about this a few weeks ago, a new premium British heavy tank based on the Carnarvon with the Action X turret. Looks absolutely evil. You've got the Awful Panzer 5 as a premium. You've got ELC 1190 as a premium, and the Samua SM as a premium. So 1, 2, 3, 4 new premiums being super tested. Also, as we just mentioned, the new French heavy tank line for 8, 9 and 10. Now this is something I hadn't seen anywhere. So on the UK turretless TDs, so the assault gun line, the AT line, 88 and 87 are both getting armor reinforced to extra frontal armor. But this is one I hadn't seen anywhere else. The most boring tank in the game, the AT2, which actually I rather like, is getting his armor reduced. Now, I don't know about you guys. To me, the AT2 was a little dream. And if you've got the AT2, it was fantastic fun, but only when you were top tier. When you weren't, you got pinned by everything. And to me, just reducing it makes it just another boring TD. And it's very slow with a very, very low alpha gun that doesn't have an awful lot of pen. And you're going to take away its one redeeming factor, that ridiculously strong 200mm frontal armor, which actually has a weak spot because the cupola commander's hatch is very, very easy to pen. But they're going to reduce it. Don't know how much, don't know anything more. The other shocker is the AT-15. They are playing around with its gun mechanics. It's a god-awful tank. One of the good things I thought about it was it had a very fast gun, but they're going to nerf that. So the 32 pounder will go from 5.9 second reload to 6.6 second reload. However, you'll get an extra 6mm of penetration with its APDS. I think that's its premium rounds. And even its standard rounds will go up by 6mm. I mean, it's nothing very much from 214 to 220, but you know, anything extra is a good thing. Also, its damage will go up from 330 to 370, and its APDS round from 250 to 280, and yeah. Oh, sorry, its HE is 330 to 370, right? So increase in. Yes, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a god-awful tank, and I actually free XP'd through it because I hated it so much. But hey, what can you do? The Churchill gun carrier reload time goes up from 8.5 to 9.5, so a whole second longer for reload. That's not great, but you do get an extra 6mm of penetration, and you get a bit more. Another 30 damage with the AP and APCR rounds, and another 40 with the HE rounds. So Tortoise reload time is being increased from 5 seconds to 5.6. Boo hiss, boo hiss. But again, you get a little bit more penetration, 6mm of extra penetration with its APCR, 6 with its AP, and again increasing 30 with its damage on the shell, on the actual shell damage. So that's, yeah, so you're gaining in one area, you're losing in another. It doesn't look like actually the Tortoise is probably net good there. A bit of extra damage for a little bit slower reload, but only 0.6 slower. It's not too bad. The German VK4502P Alf B We'll get increased load capacity, so that probably means that you don't need to put the tracks on before you get the top gun. I don't know, but that's an advantage. Now this is another big nerf in my book. The excellent Japanese Type 61, the Tier 9 medium tank, is getting its gun depression nerfed from -5 to -3 over the front, and -5 to -4 on the side. That's terrible. Never had much of a gun depression anyway, and then you're going to nerf it even further. Oof, that's a lovely tank and that's a lovely gun, but that's a horrible gun depression. Another raft of HT tanks coming through, and these are the pictures of Klondike. Does look like that. What's it? This looks so like that other map. Somebody will remind me in the chat, I'm sure. But it was a bit like this, but no sand, no snow. It was a mine in the middle with a sort of a walkway around the outside, very sort of narrow paths, and then down here more narrow sort of corridors that had a big sort of lake at the bottom. Anyway, there you go. That's what new Klondike maps looks like. So some interesting stuff there, and stuff I'd not heard about. These changes to the turretless British TD and also to the Japanese Type 64 as Type 61 is not so good in my book, but let me know what you think down below. So when is the new patch coming in? Well, we don't know exactly. So this is Armored Patrol talking about some of the estimated dates. Dates for the RU server. So registration for March of Nations is from this week, the 8th of November. Preparation of news from Wargaming, I guess that's going to be around the new patch, is 8th and 9th of November. Release of the super test is the 9th of November, so they will start to test some of these things out, coming in 9.21. Launch of the special event March of Nations starts on November the 13th. Launch of the first common test, so this is one we can all get involved in, it's the 16th of November, so it's not far away at all. Prestigious Golden Joystick Awards, 17th, okay. The second test will go out on the 30th of November, and then Operation Gambit, which is the new Clan Wars map, will go live on the 30th of November. And then patch 9.21 will come in December. We're not sure what the date is. Not sure the date is known yet. Be known closer to the launch. So interesting. Interesting. So they're hoping that it's not getting too close to Wargame Fest, which is actually pretty late. 23rd of December is when that's on. So my guess, first or second week of December would be my guess. So if you're going after the Death Star, you've got about 2 or 3 weeks left, I would imagine. Get working. Okay, so great news for all of us, I think, in terms of map development. So we've been worried that there haven't been any new maps coming into the game, and this isn't really a new map. But the developers are taking a look at some of the existing maps. So this is Kharkov, but Kharkov as you've never seen it before. Look at all that open space in the north, and the city only takes up a quarter of the map now. And you know, well, that's interesting. That's a roadblock there. That wasn't there before. All that rubble there to stop you going through. So basically, they're taking a look at some of these maps again, reworking them, and seeing what they can do to improve them. Now, I personally prefer bigger maps that have more open space and allow you to be a bit more tactical and maneuver. I know that isn't for everybody, and certainly some of the big stupid heavies really suffer that way. But given the fact artillery is being nerfed somewhat in terms of overall effectiveness, I think the big open plains are probably giving a more balanced game for everybody now, in my humble opinion. I'm sure other people have a different perspective. But Kharkov was one of those newer maps that they brought in, and everyone went, yay, new map, and then went, oh god, Kharkov. I mean, look at this. That's a lovely big shell hole that if you've got a tank like this with very, very low silhouette, it'd be great to hide under. So this is in super test at the moment. There's a couple of maps being looked at. This is a video from the developers, and you can see it's not finished. There's a lot of modelling still needs to be done. But there's a massive, great open area out around the north area here. The cap is now fully exposed, whereas previously it was surrounded by buildings. And it's definitely about a third bigger, I'd say, something like that. But all this area out here, which in the current map is barely ever properly used, you can see that this might well be used now, and actually might be an area of the map that people might want to go, other than the odd light tank. Little city up there to our, little sort of apartment block to our right. Obviously I'm not controlling this, so I can't spin it around, unfortunately. There it is up there. Let's see what else there is around this northern side. Sorry, the green spawn side, I mean. As you can see, a lot of modelling still to be done on this, but a few isolated buildings. Another sort of hilly area up around here. Nice area for the fast mediums and the light tanks to snarl it up early on, and maybe some TDs to get up here and put some nice withering fire down into the cap areas. Looks a bit open, that's the only thing. Bit too open even for my liking, but I imagine they may well fill this up a bit more, but at least you can see what they're thinking, and I think that's great. I'm pleased they're looking at some of these maps and taking them a bit seriously. So there you go. What do you think? Improvement? Difficult to tell really, isn't it, until it's fully modelled out, but I think so. Kharkov's one of those maps that it's very formulaic. This at least will give you a few more options. So don't believe it, another new map in production. So this is in super test. This is called New Island Map 2. Now, I'm not one to sort of say, you know, bemoan new maps, but this thing looks like a crazy golf circuit, don't you think? You know, one of those pitch and patch crazy golf things with the windmills and all that kind of thing. That's what this thing looks like. Apparently it's based on a map on Blitz or the console called the Rim or something like that. And I know this is in production, right? So it's still being worked on. This is just the early test. Just turn the volume down a bit. And I'm not going to knock it, because more maps, just more maps, full stop. More maps, that's all I care about. Just give us more maps. Forget all the new tanks, new lines, just give us more maps is my honest opinion. And this looks like something out of Lord of the Rings straight mini golf, but you know, it's a new map, so I'm not going to moan. Intriguing, I think. I mean, look at this wooded area here, this could be fun. Bulldozing your way through all those trees. Ooh, ooh, It's doing my eyes in. So lots of open bits, a few bits of village. There's some nice cliffs to fall off there, which is nice. In a core area around the mountain of Sauron. It's where Bilbo has to chuck his ring into. All around the outside, nice narrow bit for a bit of heavy brawling. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a new map. Did I mention it's a new map? So obviously this is work in production. As I say, this isn't final. This is just super test version of it. But you know, interesting nonetheless, huh? Developers looking at one of the old maps. This is Provence. Anybody remember this map? This is... wow, when I started playing World of Tanks, this was one of the main maps you used to get. It was, you know, there weren't many maps in the game, and this was one of the ones that you almost always got. And the problem with it was that you ended up with both teams, one on each side, sort of sniping across at each other. and it was kind of static and a bit boring, and then finally somebody would get the nerve to drive down in the base of the valley, and then they'd all get ripped apart, and then everyone would laugh, and then they'd carry on camping up the back. But this is a rework of Provence that they're investigating in super test. You can see it's still a bit like the other map on Kharkov. It's not finalised yet. Look at the island area to our right. Wow, with a big bridge going across to it. So it's not final yet. You can see they're doing a lot of work still around it. It'll have a lot more terrain and what have you, and be beautified and all that kind of stuff. But it's unmistakably Provence. You can see this area used to be here. The whatever it is, Abbey Castle, whatever it is, the other Abbey on the other side. You've still got the two sort of, wall sides of the valley that TDs and what have you has just loved sitting and firing each other across the hills. And the area down below with a few buildings to hide in, where you sort of cowered while you waited for the strike from above to take you out. It was a fun map. I actually quite enjoyed the map. There were some really funny little things in it, like you used to be able to drive up to that castle in front of us there. There was a back door you could come down from one of the sides. I think it was from the red spawn, where that Wargaming logo. There used to be a big hill, and you could sort of drop down behind the green base if they weren't paying attention. And if you were very brave, you could also die doing it. But all these mountain roads that led you up and around, and it's kind of fun. It's a bit of retro for us old timer World of Tanks fans, but nice to see. And I think, I'm pleased they're actually looking at some of the older maps and seeing whether they can rework them, because surely it can't be anywhere near as much work as recreating a brand new map. Take one of the old ones that's was a bit broken for whatever reason, and try and fix it. That seems to be the best option. Because there's, I don't know, 4 or 5 maps that I can think of that were taken out of the game for balance reasons or what have you, and it'd be relatively simple, I would have thought, to correct those, improve those, and stick them back out on the server, and at least we'd have a bit of variety. But this looks fun. This looks real fun. I like the look of this. It's a lot bigger than the old Provence map, and I think it could give a good game. There's lots of options. That's what you want in any map, isn't it? You just want options. It's one of the things I hate about Lakeville. It's like there is no options. Heavies have got really to go into the city, or they go into the Valley of Death and die. TDs have got to sort of support the push down the middle, and light tanks have got to go down the middle, and it's like I don't want things where I have to do it. I want options. I want to say, right, I'm going to go tactically this way and do something a bit different. So that's crossable, affordable. Wow. Wow. Didn't think that was. Okay, so again, another option. You've got reasonably fast tank. You can swim across here. So I like this. I think this is a nice option, and I'm pleased. So I'm pleased they're looking at maps that aren't really doing the right thing, but also maybe starting to look at some of the older maps and seeing what they can do to improve it. Is that a road bridge up there? Road bridge, tunnel, that's what I meant. Road bridge. Yeah, it is. It's a tunnel. Huh. How much fun are you going to have in something like this? See, work in progress, definitely. This is super test. This is not final. Another bridge. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Huh. Love it. Absolutely love it. Please can we have more of this? Which other maps would you like to see that they took out of the game? I have a bit of soft spot for this because you used to get it so often that it's kind of it's just sort of nice to see a familiar face almost. But I like that one. What was the one where it was a mountain pass through the middle of a hill, and you could go right round it. It was a Chinesey type theme or Japanese theme. You could go right round the outside where there were sort of hills and roads and little sort of valleys. There was water around it, and then you could, if you were really brave, you went straight through the middle, and generally died because there were TDs sitting on each side. And I can't remember what that was called now, but I used to like that map. Then they fiddled around with it and they changed its setup quite a bit by giving more access points through the valley. Oh, look at this! It's fabulous. And then they took it out of the game entirely, which was a huge shame, because I've said this before, I would rather unbalanced maps if you've got lots of them so you get variety, than just getting, you know, ultra balanced maps that you only get 2 of them to play all the time. I'd much rather have 10, even if 8 of them are slightly unbalanced on one way, because it means when they rotate round, chances are, oh, we nearly turned it over, that would have been silly. Chances are you may one time get the unbalanced in your favour, the next time you may well get the unbalanced in the enemy's against you, kind of thing. So anyway, that's my humble opinion. But let me know down below, what maps would you like to see come back? Provence is kind of cool. I'm really excited to see this one come back when they finally finish it, if indeed it does make an appearance. Let me know down below what you think. Love to hear from you. Wargaming have released this video to show some of the new graphic work that they're doing on the game, and it looks pretty darn sexy. I think you'll agree. You can get the full effect of it. Definitely enhanced graphics, definitely much clearer. That looks nice. Looks very, very nice. Look at that water, fantastic. Very nice. So there you go. No idea on timelines of when this will arrive, but it's looking pretty good, I think you'll agree. Boom jar. That's the Death Star firing. So, quick reminder for those of you who haven't already done so, if you're going to do the March of Nations competition, whatever it is, tournament they're calling it, which is for tier 7 to 10 tanks, you have to do so. Have to actually sort of sign in, if you like, that you want to do it. I believe you do it through the login. I'm recording this before it goes actually live. But when you're in the launcher, I believe there's an option there to select. If not, I'm sure you can get it through the website, through World of Tanks website. But you have from Wednesday to do that. Wednesday the 8th is when it opens, and it goes through till basically until the 22nd of November. You've got to do it. The actual time frame when the games count is the 15th of November to the 29th of November, but only between the hours of 8 AM and 2 AM Central European time. So they call that prime time, which is good for us night owls that tend to play later on in the day. And basically it is a leadership board, so there are 9 national leadership boards for each of the 4 tournaments, and it basically works out your top 5 games based on base XP, playing in random games as a solo player only. So worth doing, because you lose nothing, so that may be credibility. But if you finish in the top whatever they're going to do it, there's all sorts of goodies available. Some are better than others, and some are pretty much pointless, but you know, maybe premium time, personal reserves, badges, that kind of stuff, whatever you want. So anyway, if you're going to do it. You need to sign up. I will have done it by the time you see this, assuming I work out how to do it, because it seems to be a complete no-brainer to do it. It's free, it's simple, and it gives you something to aim for. So anyway, do it now. So indeed, March of Nations is open already. So you get to it by clicking on the missions tab in the garage, and you get this thing. And there's a button down here which I've already clicked. I should have recorded it before I did it, which said participate or something. So you click on that, and that is all you appear to need to do. And then once the competition is running from the 15th of November to the 29th of November, it will record all your games. And let's have a look at the rewards. What can we get? So rewards for German, if you're in the top 1,000, you get special badges, some extra credit generators, experience generators, free XP generator, and some premium. If you're in 1000 to 2000, you get 1 day of premium plus credit and credit and free XP. Next group, 2000 to 3000 players, you get all that, and then even if you're in the 3000 to 4000, you'll get a day of free premium. I mean, it's something for nothing, isn't it, right? So it's the same for every. Yep, there we go. So that's tier 10 vehicles. I wonder if it's different for. Yeah, it appears to be you get that for all your nations. Okay. Vehicles in the competition has to be random 15v15s, platoons not allowed, only on the servers specified, which are EU and EU1 and 2 between 7 and 1 o'clock. Okay, so prime time, really, playtime, and only vehicles specified 9 of 25. What's the vehicles? Okay, so they tell you which ones you're allowed to do. Oh, this is at tier 10, okay. So tier 10 I can only use the grill, is that what they're saying? Oh, they're just ones I own. Maybe that's just ones I own, yeah, because I don't own any of these. That's probably why. See, I have no American tier 10s. No French tier 10s. A couple of Brit tier 10s. Yeah, that's what that is, okay. So that's just for the tier 10. It doesn't tell you what the other missions are, unless I can move to. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Oh, they're all here. Ha! There we go. There's your tier 9s. So what's different with the tier 9 missions? Look like the same rewards, actually. So that's good. Tier 8s. Same again. Oh, you have to join each of these individually. Oh, okay, that's a good tip. There you go. So join as participation. There we go. So I've joined tier 7 matches and tier 10 matches. Let's join 9s and 8s. There we go. So it looks like the same reward for all the different tiers. It looks like you've got basically 4 different tiers. You've got 7, 8, and 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you can compete in any vehicle for those nations at that tier. So multiple chances, to be honest. It's kind of fun, isn't it, right? I think that's good. So there you go. That's how you do it. I wondered how it was going to work out. It's very straightforward. Just make sure you click all the different boxes, not just the top one, which is the tier 10 one. So XVM, love it or hate it? What's your view? So XVM is obviously this, for those who aren't aware of it, it is an add-on, a mod kind of thing for World of Tanks that allows you to see how good, in theory, the players are on your team and on the enemy team. It gives it a rating basically according to what is called Win 8. So it's a rather complicated calculation about how much damage you inflict and death you cause and all that kind of good stuff, which gives you a rating. And some people get absolutely obsessed about their Win 8 and get rather carried away with it. It's the most important thing. It basically feeds through to the color coding on some mods, so Aslan's mods and what have you, will be based on XVM's Win 8 rating. So one interesting thing which I found through a Facebook page actually that I follow, how it's changed, and reading between the lines is basically grown up. So the group that set this up, they have a rather convoluted formula for working out what people's Win 8 is based on server statistics of all active players. So even if you haven't played, rather, your Win 8 will move, because depending on how it matches up to other players and so forth. So one of the things that's interesting is that they've gone through it and found that the original developers of the Win8 formula sort of manipulated it a little bit, and in their words, where is it here? So here we go. Unfortunately, in the past, the authors of the expected values tables allowed themselves to some liberties and pranks with the expected values, such as manual manipulation, in order to troll the audience. We consider this unacceptable. Since the calculation of tables is now under our full control, we're taking over, I tell you. We'll be sure that there will be no manual manipulation. Our priority is correct data. God damn it. So anyway, it basically looks like XVM's grown up. The sort of shenanigans that somebody was doing just for a laugh isn't going to happen anymore. So you may find that your XVM has changed because of this. But there you go. That's interesting. I just thought it was kind of fun. So I was a bit premature in the last Rambles. I declared that the personal missions and the chat stuff was all fixed by the time my video went live, and of course it wasn't, as you know. So they're still having issues around the personal missions. Some people found that primary conditions were incomplete, but the secondary was done. All sorts of screw-ups, basically. So it's been switched off again, and no sign of our compensation, which, as you remember, was going to be an extra crew member and some extra orders that we could use. They're basically saying that this we'll get those compensations when they finally fix the problem, and they're going to do a fix as soon as they possibly can. Sorry for any inconvenience caused, and appreciate your patience. A little bit frustrating for those of you who are working their way through a lot of the missions. I mean, I have to say, from a personal perspective, I'm kind of a bit stuck. I'm on the Object 260's missions, and they're bloody hard. I haven't done one for a long time, so it's no skin off my nose, and I'll get a new crew member, which I shall look forward to using for a commander of one of my probably one of my light tanks, I should imagine. Anyway, but for those of you who aren't in that situation, it must be pissing you off. So, but they are working on it. Hopefully, at some point, we will get it fixed. Fingers crossed. But I'm not putting any predictions on it this time. Honest. I hope you found that useful and interesting. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. In the meantime, enjoy your games, have fun, try not to take it too seriously, and I will see you again soon. This is Gamer Dom, signing out.